The rain poured endlessly that morning over Arlington, streaking the barracks windows like silent tears. The air smelled of metal, gun oil, and determination. Rows of recruits stood at attention in soaked uniforms, boots sinking slightly into the muddy training field. Among them stood a young woman, quiet, still, and almost invisible. Her name tag read S. Carter, but nobody noticed. To most, she was just another face in the sea of new recruits, small, modest, and unremarkable. But that morning, the base commander had no idea that history was standing among them. Samantha Carter had walked through fire to reach that moment. Not the kind that burns the skin, the kind that scorches the soul. Her father had served in the Marines for 30 years, a man of discipline, integrity, and silent strength. He died during a mission in Kandahar when Samantha was only 16. The folded flag they handed her at his funeral felt heavier than any weapon she'd ever hold. It wasn't just fabric, it was a promise. A promise that one day she'd wear the same uniform, not just to honor him, but to prove that sacrifice meant something. But the road to that uniform wasn't easy. At 17, she was homeless for months after her mother's illness consumed their savings. She slept in her father's old truck, studied under streetlights, and worked night shifts at a diner. Every dollar she saved was a step closer to the life she dreamed of, the one that began with enlistment papers. When she finally walked into the recruitment office, bruised by life but unbroken in spirit, the sergeant behind the desk looked her up and down with skepticism. "You sure about this, kid?" he asked. She didn't answer with words. She simply slid her father's service badge across the desk. Training was brutal, the kind of brutal that broke bones, spirits, and confidence. But Samantha had learned long ago that pain was temporary. Quitting was forever. When her drill sergeant barked orders, when the obstacle courses tore her palms raw, when the other recruits snickered because she was the smallest, she kept her eyes forward. There was something in her that didn't belong to this world. A quiet fire, patient but unstoppable. And though the others didn't see it, her instructors started to. Rumors spread quietly. She scored perfect marksmanship. She ran longer than anyone else in her platoon. Her endurance tests broke academy records. And yet she never celebrated, never bragged. She just saluted, whispered a quiet "yes, sir," and moved on. By graduation, she'd earned not only her uniform, but something far rarer: respect. Still, none of them knew who she really was. Because Samantha Carter wasn't just a recruit. She was the daughter of General Jonathan Carter, one of the most decorated Marines in modern history. The president himself had once called him the soul of the Corps, but Samantha never mentioned it. She didn't want her father's name to open doors. She wanted her actions to. Months passed, and her excellence earned her a special assignment at the Pentagon. She walked those marble halls silently, performing every task, every mission with precision and humility. But something about her presence made people turn twice. She carried herself differently, like someone born of command, not seeking it. Then came the day that would change everything. A special ceremony was scheduled at the Pentagon Auditorium. Recruits, officers, generals, and government officials filled the room, awaiting the arrival of the president. It was an event to honor a fallen hero, a soldier who'd saved countless lives in a covert mission overseas. No one knew the soldier's identity yet. Only the president and a handful of senior officials had the file. The lights dimmed slightly as the Marine band played softly. Samantha stood in the back, hands behind her, her heart pounding against the weight of her memories. She had volunteered for that mission 6 months ago, the one that went wrong, the one where she had carried 3 wounded soldiers through enemy fire to safety. She had nearly died that night. She hadn't done it for medals or recognition. She'd done it because that's what her father would have done. And yet, as she stood there forgotten among higher ranks, she didn't expect what would happen next. When the president entered, the room snapped to attention. The crowd hushed as he approached the podium. His voice was steady but emotional. He spoke about courage, duty, and the kind of bravery that doesn't make headlines. Then he said, "Today we honor a soldier who reminded this nation what true leadership looks like, not through rank, but through sacrifice." He paused. The room waited. Then he looked toward the back, directly at her. "Corporal Samantha Carter," he said slowly, "please, step forward." Every head turned. Whispers spread like wildfire. The young recruit? The quiet one from logistics? Samantha froze for a second, unsure if she had heard right. But the president's eyes held hers, warm and knowing. She stepped out of the line, boots echoing through the hall. Every step she took was heavy with disbelief, humility, and something she couldn't name. Maybe her father's spirit walking beside her. As she reached the front, the president, Commander-in-Chief of the United States Armed Forces, stood from behind the podium. The generals followed. Then the entire auditorium rose. Every soldier, every officer, every civilian stood in reverent silence as the president extended his hand. "They thought you were just a recruit," he said softly, "but your actions remind us all, and heroes wear no rank." Tears blurred her vision. Her salute trembled slightly as he pinned a silver star to her uniform. In that moment, the echoes of her father's voice seemed to whisper through her heart, "You made it, kiddo." The cameras flashed, but Samantha didn't see them. All she could see was her father's old badge in her pocket. The same one she'd carried into every battle, every trial. The applause roared through the hall, but she only heard one sound, the steady rhythm of her own heartbeat. Alive, proud, unbroken. After the ceremony, she stood outside under the same gray sky that had watched her struggle years ago. Only this time it wasn't raining. The clouds had parted and sunlight touched her face gently like a blessing. For the first time in years, she smiled, not because the world recognized her, but because she had proven something to herself. That courage isn't born from comfort, and greatness doesn't need permission. And somewhere above, she knew her father was standing too, proud, at ease, saluting her in spirit. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Every story on Legends of History is made to honor the heroes who walk among us, often unseen, often uncelebrated. Special request, comment below with a to honor all those who serve quietly, whose strength inspires the world even when no one is watching.